Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you 5 tips for beginner players on Football Manager. You might not know some, even if you're an advanced player, so stick around. Also, hit the subscribe button on the channel, guys. That would be fantastic. Let's do the video. If you've just started your first FM save and you're not interested in all the little bits that you see other people do, then what you can do is you can go into Staff, Responsibilities, go into Overview, and then it shows you exactly what you're in charge of and exactly what your staff are in charge of. So if you click that, that obviously shows you in white what your staff are in charge of. If you click on this one, it changes the other ones to white, and that's what you're in charge of. Now, if you give this a quick read at the start of your saves, you can quickly set up how you want to play the game going forward. You can always change these, not a problem. But if you're not bothered about renewing your Director of Football's contract, because why would you be? Just delegate it somewhere else. It's gone, straight away. Renewing your Head of Youth Development's contract, not interested. Delegate. If that's what you want to do, that is totally up to you. You can set them all as well. You can delegate them all. It's totally up to you. If you want to see these responsibilities broken down a little bit further, then you just have to hover over responsibilities, and then you can go to staff, and it shows you everything to do with your staff. You can easily delegate or take control on there. Same with contracts. It just breaks it down so it's a bit easier to read rather than loads of text on this thing. It might be a bit overwhelming. So you can go into these different ones here, and you can change things that you want to do or what you don't want to do. Again, like I said before, you can change them at any point. It's totally up to you, but it'll make it easier for you at the start and less overwhelming, and it'll make you enjoy your Football Manager experience a little bit more. The second tip is in your Dynamics page, and we go to Happiness, and this is a one-stop shop for everything about your players' morale and happiness in different aspects of the club. So it sorts it by team leaders, highly influential players, and then other players that are maybe new or younger players that don't really fit the group yet, and they're sort of still gelling into the squad. But you can see on this page the overall morale, if you've offered any promises to each player, so you don't have to break the promises, so you don't get unhappy players, which then leads to obviously people agreeing with that player, and then your form going downhill because your club atmosphere takes a hit. This is a good page to keep up to breast with everything that people might be going on. So you can see there if James Milner is unhappy with the treatment at the club or the management or his playing time. Playing time is really important. Keep an eye on that. Obviously, this is at the start of the save, so everybody's quite satisfied and happy. But as your season goes on, this is a cool little page that you guys can have a look at if you're not used to checking yourselves, where you can see everything in one spot. And basically what will happen is you'll see like little red faces or little red downward arrows. It's very, very cool, and you can also see overall happiness. You can also sort by these, by the way, if you want. So you can really sort. If you want to see someone that's unhappy playing time, it'll go to the top, etc., etc. So that's really cool, and that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is in the squad planner page, and then report and comparison. On this screen, it's really important. Now, this might be one of the tips in this list where the experienced players might want to have a look at this, because I get a few questions often asked at me, and people say, I don't know what attributes to look for in certain divisions. Now, this is the best page on FM to check that out. First of all, if we go into goalkeepers, we can see here that our goalkeepers are the 4th best in kicking. Right? It says they're above average, 13.67, so my goalkeepers have got really good kicking. That makes sense because Brighton like to play out from the back, good kicking, etc. But if we look here, we have 16th in the Premier League level for handling. Right, these little bars, by the way, here are the average. So if you look at the average in the Premier League is 13.32. Newcastle have the best at 15, and Wolves have the worst at 11.67. So if you're looking for middle of the road in the Premier League, or the middle of the road in your League 1 team, or League 2, or whichever league in the world, go to Squad Planner, Report, Comparison, and you can see literally every single position. So defence, we want to go the defenders, and we can see that Brighton have really good tacklers. The second best tacklers in the Premier League. Man United are first with an average of 15. And the average in the Premier League is 13.93. If we go to jumping reach, we can see we're below average. We're 15. So we might want to sign some players that are a bit better in the air, defenders. We can also see how our midfielders are doing in defensive attributes. So our midfielders aren't very good at tackling. 16th in the Premier League at tackling. We can also see how our strikers are doing. There's not a problem. You can search for everything. So long shots, Brighton have got the 2nd best long shot takers at strikers. They have the 6th best long shot takers in midfield. So you guys can see your weaknesses at jumping reach in midfield. We are the worst at jumping reach in midfield. So we don't have really tall guys or really powerful players. So that makes sense because that's how Brighton play, right? They play with the ball. They don't play with in duels really. So yeah, you can also see your physical attributes, your mental attributes, your technical attributes with each position as well. You can show them all, or you can show just one, That's your technical strikers, your technical midfielders, technical defenders, etc, etc, etc. It shows you the best in the league, the worst in the league, and the average. So it helps you guys out whichever league you're in, and that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 is in the transfers page on the left-hand side, and then we go to Director of Football and suggest transfer targets. Now, what I will say before I start explaining what this does is you don't need a Director of Football for this to show up. It will just give it to your assistant manager or someone else. So don't worry about that. It will appear there, even if you don't have a Director of Football. Just click that, click Suggest Transfer Targets, and then you come with this screen here. Now, this screen's really cool because you can look for players, and David Ware, who my Director of Football is going to suggest some transfer targets. So if I'm looking for a defensive midfielder and I'm playing with a deep line playmaker and I want a deep line playmaker on a transfer, a permanent transfer, not a loan or end of contract or free transfer, I just want a transfer. Brighton have 80 million, so I'm looking for a deep line playmaker, a defensive midfield. I click suggest. He brings up 3 for me. So Ali Al Musrati from Braga, really good deep line playmaker, 16 passing, 16 vision. Christian Norgard from Brentford, a bit old, but again, very good for what I asked for. And Mandragora. He's probably the worst one of the lot, but still very good. We can do this for all positions. You can look for strikers. We can maybe, if we play for a complete forward, it shows you 3 complete forwards there. Ivan Toney there. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, complete forward, and Jonathan Cagliari, who's a bit cheaper than the others, but that's still fine. You get the idea, right? You get the idea. So if you want to look for a goalkeeper, but you guys are playing with a shadow sweeper keeper instead of a normal goalkeeper, want to go to transfers, we click that, and then it shows you Jordan Pickford, Mamardashvili, and David Soria. So it's really cool to find different players. Again, if you're in the lower leagues, like League 1, League 2, and you want to look for some, even in the Vanarama, you want to look for some loan players, maybe you want a left winger on loan. It won't show me with Brighton, I don't think, because there's not really many loanees for Premier League clubs. This will definitely work if you look for loanees. There you go. So Alexis Sanchez and Choupo-Moting, not really great options for loans because they're old. But like I said, you'll be able to find young players at clubs in the divisions higher than you in the Vanarama and League 2, League 1, etc. if you use that little tab. Obviously, free transfers, that's probably best to use in the 1st of July when people have run out of contracts at the end of the season. That's quite cool. You can just go to centre-back, free transfer, and it'll show up. Obviously, right now, Jerome Boateng and Almami Toure are there, but probably not good enough for Brighton. But like I said, in League 2, League 1, there'll be plenty there. Fill your boots, and that's tip number 4. And tip number 5 is also in the transfers page, but this time we're going to clauses. Now, clauses work in 2 ways. We can buy a clause or we can sell a clause. Now, the only ones that we can sell or buy are the ones with your currency at the sides. For me, it's pound signs. For you, it might be dollars or euros. It's totally up to you. But the ones with the red arrows, which means we can buy the clauses, which is clauses that we've put in with other clubs or Brighton have in real life. And the green ones down here, which is Leandro Trossard, because obviously they sold him, so they're the ones that we can gain a bit of extra cash. So Brighton will be due 500k after another 40 league appearances from Leandro Trossard. Now, you might not want to wait for 40 league appearances to get 500k. You might want 386k right now, so you might want to do that. Bang. There we go. We got about 750k there in 4 clicks of a button. Now, I'm not saying every club has these. Some clubs don't. Some clubs have them there, but they can't negotiate them to start with. You have to wait for maybe 6 months in the game. So keep checking if you're at year 1, 6 months in, 2 years' time, 3 years' time. They might appear, but you can also sell clauses. So if you're thinking about selling Tariq Lamptey, but you don't want 15% of his next transfer fee to go to Chelsea, you can buy that clause for 4 million and then sell him for 50 million, and then Chelsea won't get 7.5 million, right? Quick maths. 15%. You'll actually be saving 3 million there because you've bought the clause. So that is tip number 5. It's really useful to get a bit of money and also save a little bit of money. And that is the end of the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Leave a like on the video. If any helped you, leave some comments in the comment section and subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you then. Goodbye.